There we go. Okay, so I think the way we're gonna take this is so I know the actual video starts like around the 1:30 mark, so we'll start
Yes.
there.
Are we live?
Um
Or
yeah,
are
yeah,
we recording?
we're recording right now.
Okay.
Here, I'll go ahead and do this too, just so way.
Um
Fucking so these first 5 minutes are a fucking shit show. I'm gonna play some of it right now because
yeah,
he
we
has like
wait before we start, we should probably give a notice to the audience. So, we're doing sort of a response slash debunk of information that we found in the video labeled "The Hard Truth About Devil May Cry 5" from the video YouTube channel known as Twin Twin Review.
twin yes.
Yeah,
Uh
great name. um, and this
What's the
has
first one
been
to it?
requested, I think, a couple times. Once on the stream that we had like last night, and then a few like several months before that, like way back when someone mentioned it, and then I was like, whatever, we'll get to it. And then I got if it brought up once, okay, but it was brought up twice, and various people had poked me, and even more people have poked Zim because he runs this thing. So
You know, contrary to popular belief.
so how we're going to be like responding to this video is going to be pretty simple. In this video, if you look under the video description, it has like various points that it mentions that will make this easier. And I know someone has already done a response video to it, but I want to do something a little bit different than what they were doing.
Fucking someone, if you watch our live stream, someone did like a 10-hour response to this guy.
No, they didn't do it 10 hours, but it was like an hour and 30. But it's like, I think the collective responses of like all the response videos to all their things, because we're just responding to the last one. There's no point to responding to the first one because he already tries to clarify most of his points in the second video he makes. I still think they're wrong, but like the point is those were videos made pre DMZ5, so I don't care what he has to say unless it was like a predictions video and like we were going back and checking.
According to him, he did do a couple of predictions, specifically regarding Lady and Trish, but we can get to that when we get to that in the video.
Well, yeah, but I meant as far as like if we were coming here to talk about what a person made on the record consistently as predictions, we don't care about that. We're just here to talk about like what he says after the game has come out because that's ultimately what's more relevant, and that's what people want. That's what I want. That's what Zim wants.
All right, so I'm gonna play a bit of the first 5 minutes a bit uninterrupted because he goes through like 30 fucking
Yes,
questions.
but before you do, it'd be best to start at 1:30 because that is when he puts the spoiler mark out. Because prior to that, the first minute
Yeah,
and
yeah.
30 is just like a rerun of I'm assuming some nostalgia stuff and like a joke.
I wouldn't say it's nostalgia stuff. I think it's more just like it's more like just a setup for his like opinion on it. All right, so
Right.
we're gonna start at 150 because I'm pretty sure that's when the questions are 140. I think that's when the questions actually start. Hang on.
Ever
Yeah.
played. Its playtime is short, its level design story is appalling, its characters are embarrassing, and its platforming is basic, its story is appalling.
Okay, so he says the platforming is basic, and to be fair, it is. But I never really took platforming as something that was actually a part of the game. I just took it like as traversal personally. Haven't got to the questions yet. I just wanted to go ahead and throw that one out there because I think he brings up platforming several times, and jumping onto a platform for me does not qualify platforming completely, but I suppose he's not wrong there.
Its characters are embarrassing,
Yeah.
and
So
when
I'm gonna go through here and find everything that he says before he gets to the questions because the questions are gonna be super easy because he's gonna go through them. We're just gonna nail them one by one. But it's best to get all the loaded stuff that he throws at us before we go. So I'm gonna try and memorize everything that he says real quick.
dimensional and smashed in the middle of it all is one of the most hands down, ridiculously imaginative and entertaining fighting systems I've ever played. 3 of them. How and why this game exists in the ways that it does remains a mystery to me. But right off the bat, I have a couple questions. Why didn't they make a game with just Dante? Why does the game have 3 playable characters?
Okay, so the first two questions already out in the open there. Why doesn't the game just focus on Dante? Why does the game have three playable
Wait, hang
characters?
on. Before we have to cover this other stuff that he says because he just throws that out there. We got to respond to that too before we get to the question.
So originally he starts starts off with his opinion of the story being atrocious, the characters being bad, and stuff like that. But unlike other YouTubers, myself included, he actually does talk about that in more detail later on. He doesn't
So
just drop
you'd
nuggets.
rather just get to it then rather
Well,
than
we start with the questions because we know he's going to talk about the story again, and we know he's going to talk about world building and the plot and everything. So it's not like he's not going to come back to it. But yeah, no, because the initial first like 2 minutes are his hot take, but then immediately the questions just start coming out, and the questions are going to continue, I think, up until the 4:30 minute mark, actually. So it's just two
yeah.
straight minutes of fucking one-liner questions. The first two questions I don't really think are worth answering. It's why didn't Dante have his own game, and why are there three playable characters? Like those aren't really those
Well,
aren't.
every question since this is a response video, every question is worth answering. It's just not every answer is going to have the same value. Why didn't they make a game about Dante? Well, if you want a game about Dante, you can play the first 5 games, including the reboot.
Well, to
I
be
don't know if
fair,
you,
DMC3 is Virgil's game.
every game is Virgil's game if you think about it, because all the games are either bought by his reactions or sold by his they're
Actions.
bought by his actions or resold or sold by his reactions. As I've said before, like he's the reason DMC3 happens in its entirety. He raises the tower, he sends the demons, he sends Arkham to get the stuff. Well, Arkham like volunteers to get the amulet, but not the point. He's the whole reason that happens. He's the whole reason Dante decides that he wants to be like not that he decides that he wants to be a devil hunter. He's the reason Dante names his business Devil May Cry.
And then canonically changes it to Devil Never Cries, and then they realized that
then
was a
changes it
mistake, so they changed it back.
He's the reason Dante gets the Force Edge and the amulets to defeat Mundus in DMC1, which by default means Virgil is the reason Mundus is defeated. He's the reason billions of people's lives are saved. He's the reason DMC4 happens because he's the father of Nero. Arguably, he'd be the reason that Yamato is in Fortuna. We don't know how it got there, but it's his sword. He's the reason DMC5 happens. So if you tell me why don't they make a game about Dante, like, again, like, it's not even like relevant to say it's about Dante. Dante is just the focal point of the story. And even then, like, why would you want another game about Dante? This is without even talking about Nero and the fact that Nero is the new focus of the series since 4.
He'll get to Nero. This guy has choice words for Nero.
I'm waiting to hear them. So there's more to talk about that later. A lot of these questions can be alleviated greater when we get into the main points that he has. Why are there 3 playable characters? Because there's been multiple playable characters since DMC2. DMC2 was like a half-finished game.
This one was just this is just what fans wanted. Fans always wanted multiple play styles to work with, or multiple.
And it's not just the fans. The devs like designing multiple characters. They like going as far as they can with as many concepts as possible. Like Trish and Lucia were, again, say what you will, they were different experiments. Virgil in his entirety is a completely different playable character. I bet you wouldn't be making this argument if it was DMC3. Or you probably were one of the people that was making this argument when DMC4 was a thing or when it was released. And yeah, most of the people who didn't like Nero's inclusion in that game were like, reboot came around, Nero seems pretty good right about now. And then
one thing I will say is he is one of the few people who seem to have actually liked DMC4 Nero. When he gets to Nero, he does like DMC4 Nero.
Then it makes no sense that he dislikes him in this game. Like, I'm just going to say that right off the bat. If you like Nero in 4, it makes no sense that you didn't like him in 5.
I will say this is a much more
you know what you're talking about.
It's a much more well-structured criticism than I was expecting. It's wrong half the time, but it's a lot better than I was expecting.
His videos are very well edited. They are.
Yeah,
they're very well structured.
This is an example of a good quality YouTube video.
Yeah, no, if they just had... This is one of the best quality YouTube videos in terms of, like, DMC, and in terms of, like, a lot of things that I've seen
when it comes to critique or people who critique things, this video is, like, a prime example of how you want to edit your video if you're going to critique something. I know.
Oh, sure. It just doesn't have any of the content he needs to make that critique valid. He has the outline. He just doesn't have anything in the outline.
So
It's like a really nice essay, but like it's half of like you get to the essay and then it's like there's like a body that's like mixed up, no thesis, no conclusion.
it's weird because this is most likely scripted, and you'll see in a little bit he makes a fuck up in his questions that if he had a script, he should have realized shouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, and we're just on the first two questions. We haven't gotten to the main point.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
like. There's a main point. Like, there's a good stuff here. All right, so let's continue with the questions.
Why is Griffin not annoying? Why is Nico so annoying?
Okay, so the next two questions are personal preference. Why is Griffin not annoying? Why is Nico annoying? Or why is Nico so annoying? And I suppose since we're gonna respond to all of it, Griffin has charisma. Nico doesn't. Nico is a stereotype. Griffin is unique. I think if you were to argue why one's annoying and one's not, it's because Griffin's unique and Nico isn't. I mean, for fuck's sake, she's basically Final Fantasy 15 Cindy, just a lot more southern.
I mean, I would say that it doesn't really matter why Griffin's not annoying because he later says that Griffin is one of his favorite characters. Like, was he expecting him to be annoying? Was that an expectation? Because I again, that would just be personal preference. Like, I expected Griffin to be interesting because I didn't think Griffin was going to be able to talk. Like, I know he talked in DMC 1, but the thing is, like, he's significantly smaller. A lot of people, if you played, or no, if you searched or were even in the presence of any of the DMC Discord servers at the time, thought V was the spawn of Mundus because he had all of, like, that was a very popular, that was one of the most popular, like, theories. I would.
Yeah, because leading up to DMC5, the main two theories were either V is some variation of Virgil or V is some variation of Mundus. That was the idea going into it.
Which, again, like, seeing how Burial turned out, like, we would even then conclude that V would be significantly weaker than Mundus. So it's possible that if he spawned Griffin wouldn't have the ability to talk or be inaudible. The fact that he is like, again, it's obviously not reminiscent of that theory. I'm just saying, like, expectations of him being annoying versus not being annoying, like,
I think this might be just due to the game. Like, in his playthrough of the game, he found Griffin less annoying than Nico. But I don't really understand, like, where the comparisons here are. Is he trying to argue new characters? Because Griffin's technically not a new character.
Yeah, Griffin wasn't annoying in 1. Even then, he didn't have that many lines, and the Griffin in this game is just he's just a physical representation of Nello Angelo's interpretation of Griffin, as is Shadow, as is Nightmare. So, if anything, Nello Angelo, like, Virgil made him better just by thinking of him. So,
all right. So,
as for Nico, I mean, Nico being annoying,
that's a completely personal preference one. Like, there's no real way to argue in favor or against that. I'm just saying that my statement is that she's just not unique, especially in video games. Like, we literally just had Final Fantasy 15 have Cindy, and I'm pretty sure you can find several other Southern Mechanic girls in, like, other games as well.
I was going to say that she's not unique in the sense that she's the person that gives you your weapons. And that's what not, like, her station in the game is not unique in the slightest. Like, what she occupies as her job and, like, her role in the story has been fulfilled by many other people in various video games before. So, yeah, no.
He does go into criticizing the girls later, specifically, and that'll be interesting to note because he has some choice words on that one. But to be fair, she is the first mechanic character in the series that's in the game anyway, because none of fucking Dante's weaponsmiths ever show up. All right, let's see what the next two questions are.
Why do I have to fight the same Urizen battle 3 times? Is this the compromise I have to make because they didn't include a boss rush in this game? Wait a minute.
Okay, so the next question is just why do you have to fight Urizen multiple times? And he goes on to make a joke about is it because there's no boss rush, but V has a boss rush in the game?
Why do we have to fight Urizen multiple times? Well, that's kind of what the story demands. Also, are you considering the chair Urizen boss fight the same thing as standing Urizen or boxing Urizen? Because
I think he's referring to just the 3 chair Urizens. I don't think he's referring to all three different forms because you
Well,
fight
I
Cherry
do.
three times.
He doesn't specify though.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, yeah, no, you're right,
so.
but yeah, I'm pretty sure his
Again,
point
how
is
hard would it have been for him to say, "Why do I get to fight Cherryursen 3 times?" Like one word. So for the fact that he doesn't provide clarification, I get to criticize that. Standing Urizen and Cherryursen are not the same thing. The first time you fight Cherryursen, that's not even a fight. Like he literally swats you and you're dead. Like he just slaps Nero and he's gone. The very first time you fight him ever, even on repeated playthroughs, he still swipes you and the game's over. On higher difficulties, he'll still swipe you and the game's over. The only like actual fights that they have against Cherryursen is like I think Dante in Mission 10,
and then Nero
and
in
then
Mission
like
8.
maybe actually one of those doesn't even count because you don't even get to defeat one of them. You do get to like break the crystal and actually injure him. In Dante's case, I don't even think you get to injure him.
In
That's
Dante's case, you don't get to break the crystal. In Nero's first
right.
case and second case, you can defeat Urizen, but you know.
So Nero, you don't even get to finish the fight in Dante and Nero's first fights. So I wouldn't even count that. And it wouldn't be accurate to say there's 2 standing Urizen fights either, because Nero is supposed to lose his one, and Dante's not supposed to lose his one. So in reality, there's only like 1 chair and 1 Urizen. There's multiple attempts. I'll give you that. There are not multiple battles and actual fights. Don't even at me. That's not.
Right. Regarding the boss rush, though, honestly, considering I'm gonna say that DMC5, while I wish it did have a boss rush to some capacity, you fight so many of the same enemies that there really isn't a need for a boss rush in DMC5.
Also, saying that like V is like the idea, like V's boss rush was done uniquely well. Like his was based on resource management, and that you can fight the bosses based on what summons that you choose to offer, and it's completely different from like, let's say, well, the only real boss rush that was done correctly, and that was DMC3's. Because DMC4's was a disaster because they didn't include Credo, and they were having you fight the same boss for the 3rd time in a row. So,
it sounds like you're not appreciating a good old boss rush.
Whereas compared to this, I mean, again, even if you wanted to complain about a boss rush, they took some of the best bosses in the game. Say what you will about Goliath, you can combo on him. You can combo on Cavalier.
Artemis is the odd one out.
Yeah, Artemis. Well, Artemis is the odd one out, but Artemis is definitely one of the best ranged boss fights we've had in the entire series. That's not even debatable.
My only complaint about Mission 14 is that after you beat it the first time, you should have been able to play it with every character.
Yeah, probably.
That's gonna be my only complaint there on that mission, because I get it's V's mission, but this is your boss rush. Let me play as Nero or fucking Dante if I want for this one.
Oh yeah, why I mentioned Artemis being like a higher quality of like boss as far as like ranged is that her competition is not very good. I mean, it's like Cerberus's ice attacks and like various like range projectiles from like Nevin, because like most ranged bosses, there aren't really any ranged bosses in DMC. There are bosses that just rush at you and shoot projectiles.
So in DMC, if we're talking like just straight range bosses, there's Griffin in DMC 1. Griffin is a range boss. Then you have Arius in DMC 2, which, take that one as you will. DMC 3, you have Navon, and DMC 4.
I wouldn't even call Navon entirely a ranged boss, because she still like attacks you and responds to you in close quarters. You could, but like.
Well, I mean, like having a close quarter attack isn't going to disqualify you as a ranged boss. If your primary like fighting style is ranged attacks, I'm going to call you a ranged boss, and that's why I'm.
Well, I mean, she's also got a grab. She also has like multiple close range attacks.
When Navon is left to her own devices, she's going to be attacking you from a range. Like you have to close the gap and force that to happen.
I mean, she does mix ups. She doesn't just do like one or the other.
Yeah, like I'm just near the end there. Like I mean, yeah, obviously some are going to be a bit more like varied, but technically she'd be the range
I'd say
boss.
Griffin and what's it called, Arius. They're probably better examples. Griffin definitely. Griffin is for sure a range
Yeah,
boss.
Griffin's the like quintuple range boss. And then for DMC4, I don't think there is a range boss for DMC4 because like even the
I
fucking
mean,
plant chick,
Sanctus?
she gets really close to you. No, Sanctus is not a range boss.
Sanctus? How is he not? Like,
Oh, okay. So Sanctus in his first form?
yeah,
Sure.
first round Sanctus,
Yeah,
not second
okay.
round. The
Yeah,
second round
I'd say,
Sanctus
'cause
just
Saber
starts with his
Sanctus
body.
is he gets up close. Yeah, no.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's just an example of a bad boss fight.
Yeah, Artemis is just a significantly better Sanctus boss fight with like some actual like combo potential, which means
Yeah, 'cause
by
they
default it beats
even brought
Griffin
in the
in most of
fucking.
his forms.
They even brought in the same fucking little pillar things you gotta grab on, little fucking flying pylons.
Yeah, Griffin is a challenging boss fight, but he's not a boss fight that allows a level of interactivity. So, like Artemis does. Like you can't sit here and tell me that like Artemis would not be a good boss, and then I can make arguments for Goliath and Cavalier being superior versions of other bosses and boss concepts in the series. But that's not neither here nor there.
All right, so let's continue forward.
Include a boss rush in this game? Wait a minute. Why does
Oh, I gotta say this now. The audio quality is like exceptionally good for this video. Like my audio quality is probably shit by comparison. So that tells you. Actually, what am I using for my audio mic? Actually. Oof. Let's fix that to the blue snowball. I'm wondering if this will make the audio actually worse. There, moving forward.
does Urizen look so bored? If Urizen doesn't care, why should I care?
Okay, so this next one, in my opinion, was like I think the first stupid question he brings up. Why does Urizen look so bored? If he doesn't care, why should I care?
This isn't relevant. Like why are you tying your preferences to Urizen? Like Urizen is a god. You're a fucking mortal at this point. We're not comparing for context. It's not relevant to mention your point of view because you're not even properly fighting him for the first fight, as we've explained already. You're not even fighting him for Dante's proper first fight, and Dante's the only one who can present a legitimate threat to him. And even then, Dante gets one shot in DT. So
yeah, no, there's very clear reason why this fucker looks bored.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look as far as what is a compelling reason for him not to care besides power, well, there isn't. Like, the whole purpose of Urizen's character is to just be uncontrolled power. He's just Virgil's lust for power in a physical manifestation, just all of his demonic power in a physical form. So he literally doesn't understand certain concepts of the emotions outside of the ones that he has, like certain points of rationality. So even if you were stronger than him, he probably wouldn't understand that.
Now, to be fair regarding that point, he does bring it back, referencing Nero and Dante later. So we'll cover that again when he gets to that. But he does bring that point back.
Why does Urizen's final form look like
Ivan He also says, why does he look like some guy
villain
from Power Rangers?
I did hear this one a lot, actually. When DMC5 first came out, I did hear that he looked like a Power Rangers villain. I don't think it was intentionally supposed to be referencing Power Rangers. I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb here and say that wasn't the case. But for those of you who don't know, Dave Rubin and, well, you guys know fucking Virgil.
All the main, like, motion capture cast artists were from Power Rangers.
Yeah, they appeared in Power Rangers at some point or another. Rubin was a stunt double. Dan Southward was the actual fucking Quantum Ranger. And I think Johnny Young Bosch was also a stunt double. I'm not sure if he was actually like a Power Ranger himself.
No, I think he was. Because he was in scenes. I remember seeing him in scenes where he actually is having like dialogue with other characters, and they wouldn't use a stunt double for that.
Okay, so yeah, then all right, so he was an actual Power Ranger then. All right, so next up, Morrison.
Morrison back. Why is Morrison black?
Yeah, the Morrison questions are actually like concerning.
Well, the Morrison questions were why is Morrison back and why is Morrison black? And
wait, we skipped it. We skipped the question.
Okay, hang on, let me go back real quickly. Right, so.
Rock candy swizzle stick.
Okay.
Eric! Why can't I fight Urizen instead of the stupid rock candy swizzle stick?
Okay, so why can't I fight Urizen instead of this rock candy swizzle stick? Which a good description for the fucking crystal. I'm not gonna fucking deny that
Good
was.
description for the sword that can cut through anything.
To be
Um,
fair, you don't know it's a sword yet at that point in the game.
Sure. Why do I have to fight that instead of that? Well, because both Nero and Dante in the lore of the story at that point are not strong enough to fight Urizen, as indicated by the fact that in gameplay you can't even finish the fight. So, yeah, Nero only proves that he's strong enough to break the crystal at that point because he's like, not that Dante can't break the crystal. If Nero can break it, Dante certainly can. It's just that Dante, when he's fighting Urizen, I don't know if you're aware because you had to read the Before the Nightmare summaries
Well,
or the novel
actually, he
translation.
did because he referenced the novel later. He referenced Before Nightmare
Oh,
later. So
then this great. Then let me make this simple. Dante fights him for an extended period of time, and Urizen is actually actively fighting him with the tentacles, not the crystal. He doesn't use the crystal because he knows Dante could just break it at any literally. He also blocks him with his hand when he goes into DT. So even if you want to say that base Dante is not a threat, again, DT, based on what we've seen, is only like a several times increase. I could be wrong about that. Maybe Capcom will come along with like a statement later that indicates otherwise.
I guess I should confirm, or I guess I should say it's now. Now we're at the 26-minute mark. That Devil Never Cry, apparently, the guy on our YouTube over here, or no, not Devil Never Cry, my bad, Devil Must Die over here. So many fucking devil names over here. Apparently, he did ask Ruben Langdine, and according to Ruben, the Sin DT is the normal DT now. So I'll probably reference that again in the comment section, but apparently that's the situation we now find ourselves in.
Well, either way, it shouldn't be relevant why you have to fight the crystal because, again, for gameplay purposes, you don't even get to like finish the fight. So it's not as if you get to reach Urizen anyway. And when you do, then you get to actually fight him. When it isn't like the first official fight for him is like Nero's fight in Mission 6.
Wait, isn't Nero's
Mission
Mission
8?
8? Yeah,
Mission 8, yeah. My bad.
To be fair, you can kill Urizen at the beginning of the game, but you're not supposed to gameplay wise. So,
yeah, no.
Yeah, I think that was.
That's an alternate ending that isn't canon. So.
Alright, so let's continue here.
Where's Morrison been?
Okay, so basically just 3 Morrison questions. Where's Morrison been? Why is Morrison black? All that good jazz. Morrison is a broker for other people, so him not being in the other games makes perfect sense. He's got other things to do. Morrison being back, probably just to set up more character and world building. As for Morrison being black, well, that to me just I can't really. They just wanted him to be black.
Yeah, so as far as the black thing, no one knows that. But again, this isn't a question that's like relevant to anything because Morrison doesn't play a role outside of brokering information. Yeah, he's an information broker. It's what he does. He doesn't just work for Dante. He has to pay his bills somehow. Why is he back? Well, the anime is canon, so he never left. I mean, it'd be a more useful question to ask, where's Enzo, even if you were like ignorant on DMC info. Because Enzo was actually originally Dante's information broker. And then around the time after the anime, they got Morrison on board. Morrison was there for DMC2 as well. He just didn't broker the deal for the DMC2 mission because Lucia found Dante first. Yep. And then he was in hell after that, and then Lady is the one that gives him the job. So, yeah, if you want a reason for why he does it, it's because other Devil Hunters find him before, like, they don't go to Morrison. They just go to Dante directly.
Alright, so...
Why hasn't getting stabbed with Yamato separated Dante's human and devil halves? Why hasn't getting stabbed with Rebellion activated Dante's Sin Devil trigger?
Okay, so the next 2 questions are essentially why did Yamato never split Dante when he was stabbed, and why did the Sin Devil trigger never activate with Rebellion?
Well, let's get the easy one out of the way. Sin Devil trigger activating with Rebellion. Well, Dante literally explains in the cutscene that's about to come out of, like, I'm not even kidding, like, the next piece of footage that he uses, which shows Dante transforming in the house. Hang on one sec.
Before. What is his
2
Sin Devil?
seconds.
Yeah. I see.
Devil Trigger.
Okay, so we might as well go over like what is his Sin Devil Trigger. Why does so his Sin Devil Trigger, as is explained, is literally just the true. It's literally like his true form of his DT, just his rebellion combined with the Sparta. Again, the rebellion was created for the purpose of Dante, with the ability to combine man and demon, as it's explained in that cutscene. So, again, when Dante is stabbed multiple times with the rebellion, when he's stabbed with it in 3, and when he's stabbed with it in 4, what is he going to combine with? Like,
well, what I was gonna say regarding that one specifically is he never has the Sparta when he gets stabbed with Rebellion at any point in the series. They're not even like in the same game half the fucking time.
I know, but we're not even including that. I'm just saying, like, what else is he going to combine with? Because Yamato is being held by Virgil in the scene, and Yamato unlocks his DT, so it's not going to combine a completely different devil arm that's tied to another person.
Trying to fucking combine the Cerberus with Dante to create the Sin Cerberus DT.
Like, what's it going to do? Combine the Red Queen that's sitting on Nero's back from halfway across the room? Like, I'm pretty sure it needs to be in close proximity to you. Maybe that's my headcanon, but, like, generally speaking, when I look at a transformation and it shows that the transformation that he's occurring when he's absorbing stuff around him is only occurring in the distance of a destroyed room, which is pretty small, and I know for a fact that that's smaller than, like, the amphitheater he was fighting in 4, I think I have a pretty good case to suggest that it wouldn't absorb the Red Queen, but that's not the point. Point being, like, there's no reason for it to absorb anything else. Then the Yamato one. Why does Yamato have the ability to separate man from devil? I mean, why does it have any of these other? Because the writers can keep adding abilities onto it.
I was going to say, very clearly this was made for DMC5, and he does reference that later, saying that.
But he also states later in the video that there are retcons, and I'm just going to sort of address this now. Whenever Yamato gets a new ability, it's not a retcon, because it's never stated that there's a definitive limit, or that Yamato being able to cut through anything is the definitive thing. Like, that's just the statement for Virgil's description when Virgil holds it. If you go play DMC4, especially obviously the SE version, because Virgil is in the base of 4, if you check Nero's description for activating Yamato, as well as just what he has for Yamato as an item, it says it's a sword imbued with tremendous magic. This will unleash the latent potential within Nero. You look at Virgil's description, and it just says this is a sword that can cut through anything.
Dante says something similar too.
Yeah, it says it's the twin swords. It's the key to opening the Hellgates, but it's also the key to their destruction. So they all have completely different descriptions. Nero, when he fires energy slashes. Dante, when he uses his, just like, again, he can still cut through anything with it, like Virgil, but he only does it because he thinks that's how the Judgment Cut is supposed to be fired. If you read the Deadly Fortune novel, he fires a Judgment Cut because he fires it that way because he assumes that's how it works. He also fires a Wind Slash, but that's just the force of Yamato being thrown out and carried by the force of the wind. Bless you. Like, that's just a strike from Yamato being carried from the blade.
Yeah, not only that, but this is very clearly a ability you have to force to activate. It's not just a passive Yamato ability where you stab something that splits in two. Virgil very clearly had to cause this to happen.
Also, just like with all the other abilities, you kind of have to want to activate them by applying the effort too. Like,
which is super fucking weird.
Like, why would Virgil want to? I mean, we don't know for certain whether Virgil knew about that ability or not, because again, we don't know where he was for the last 16 years in between, like, or 15 or 16 years in between DMC 1 and DMC 5.
Well, I mean,
but even if he did,
he wasn't anywhere because he went through time.
Oh yeah, well, we're not going to get into his DeLorean crackpot theory, time travel theory, but so. Even if he did, why would he split Dante in half? Like, why would you fight... Now you have to fight, like, a human Dante and a demon Dante, which that demon Dante arguably would be more powerful because
If
he'd
we
be unbrittled.
assume Eurus is an example of what happens when someone gets split, Demon Dante would probably have been stronger than Virgil when he was first split. Yeah, definitely.
Or even if he wasn't, he would still be a force to be reckoned with, and he would not be restrained by any of like the mannerisms or stupidity that Dante has in his character. He'd just be a full force killing machine, and that's something that Virgil is not going to want to deal with. So if Virgil has knowledge of it, there's no reason to.
Well, to be
Also,
fair, if we assume the split's the same, he probably wouldn't be a good fighter because Urizen's a pretty shit fighter. Ironically enough. Well, at the very least, if we go off the gameplay, because he does not know how to throw a proper punch to save his fucking life.
right. Also, I was going to say that whether you think the retcons in DMC5, the actual retcons, not the ones you're going to mention, but the ones that actually exist in DMC5, being that Virgil and Dante hate each other, whether you think this is pre or post retcon, neither one is consistent for a reason for why Virgil would want to split Dante in half. Because pre-retcon, Virgil cares about Dante. There's no reason he would want to split his human and demon halves. The only reason he even stabs him with the rebellion is because he knows how to activate a DT, and he's trying to give him one. As far as post-retcon, why would Virgil want to win by, again, cheating him out of, like, that's arguably playing dirty, because you're literally splitting him in half and defeating two enemies instead of defeating Dante as his original whole. Which I don't think Virgil would consider that to be fair. I can make an exception for why V makes that, but V isn't Virgil. He's just Virgil's feelings. Virgil's who Virgil is like all of his parts as a whole.
Alright, let's continue.
Why is it stronger than your
Yeah.
activated Dante's Sin Devil Trigger before? What is his Sin Devil Trigger? And why is it stronger than Urizen's Plot Fruit? If Dante's Sin Trigger is stronger than Urizen's Plot Fruit, why didn't Virgil stab himself with Rebellion instead?
Okay, so I've never seen someone look at something in a clear screen and get the completely wrong message out of it. So he goes on, the next two questions are, why is the Sin Devil Trigger stronger than Urizen's Plot Fruit? And why, if it's stronger, why didn't Virgil stab himself with the Rebellion? Like, I've never seen someone completely miss the point of a fucking scene before, where it's literally spelled out, he's absorbing the Sparta. That doesn't fucking happen.
Okay, Plot Fruit. Well, I mean, if you want to say Plot Fruit...
Let's be real here for a minute. The fruit is a MacGuffin. It is the prime example of a fucking thing that was just in the game.
Yeah, so is like most things in like DMC. Like, again, the DMC story I said has been referred to many times by many YouTubers as a simple story told well. They're correct. There's just a lot of subtlety to it. The fruit is not one of those subtle things. But being a plot fruit is not necessarily a bad thing. It drives the portion of the story. It explains why Mundus goes from being a shit demon to literally the emperor of the underworld.
And yet, the same lore that's fixed in the fucking 5th novel also confirms Argosax was fighting him in equal terms for the underworld, and that fucking Abigail still exists somewhere in that mix without the fruit. The fruit didn't need to exist.
Fruit doesn't need to exist, but it doesn't. We can't sit here and say that it isn't useful for a storyteller.
The fruit, that's why it's a MacGuffin. Like, it's just there to move the story along. Personally, because he's gonna do his own headcanon, the fruit should have been made by Malphus, and it should have been the first time the fruit was being made. I think that would have made the story better. Like, have the tree be the same, but have Malphus like change the fruit property or something. I don't know. Just give Malphus more fucking to do. Like, fuck me, we have a random fucking fruit out of nowhere.
Yeah, so he says it's the Sin Devil Trigger is stronger than Urizen's Plot Fruit. Why didn't Virgil stab himself with Rebellion instead? Why does Virgil have a Sin Devil Trigger? So we'll go over these three things. So for starters, well, as far as the Sin DT, we don't actually know how Sin DT is acquired. We don't have a definitive statement, but
assuming Sin DT is the normal DT. It's probably just like a super hyped version of normal DT. Once Dante and Virgil absorb these high amounts of power, this was just the natural upgrade.
If you want an honest opinion or an honest interpretation, as far as I can suggest, it would be that you have to fully combine your human and your demon halves. And Dante and Virgil both do that. If you want a consistent example, because Dante literally just combines them. He combines all demonic material on his body with his actual like human, half demon body. His is a lot easier. Virgil goes through like a literal like physical journey to take his dying human soul body, stab it into Urizen's dying demon soul body, and then combine the entire being to recreate Virgil. Like it's not so much that, again, like I would have argued that Virgil would have had a Sin DT without the fruit. Like if he had just returned. The only reason his Sin DT is comparable in strength is because he got the fruit. The fruit isn't what gives him a Sin DT. Even though I can say for certain, like, we don't have a definitive answer, based on these facts, we have no reason to conclude the fruit has anything to do with Sin DT. It just makes him stronger. Like, again, like if he combined with him, he probably would have been able to activate it. My problem is that he just knows how to use it. But then again, Dante knows how to use it, and he's less experienced with using demonic power than Virgil is, because Virgil's a freaking god. But
well, again, I mean, if we assume that Sin DT is the normal DT now, for all we know, it's just activating DT puts you in the Sin DT state.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying it's it. It should have nothing to do with the fruit.
Yeah, as for why it's stronger than the fruit, though, I'm going to say it right now, that was just pure plot.
Yeah, well,
Sparta
it's
got
also
upgraded again just to make that fucking happen.
It's also the fact that, like, you have to remember Dante and Urizen would be confirmed to be getting comparative levels of blood due to the fact that the tree both recognizes them as Urizen. If you've read the what's it called?
I think it's the art book.
Well, that and like okay, yeah, it is the art book. I was saying it, I think the Before the Nightmare mentions it, but no, Before the Nightmare specifically is Before the Nightmare. So the art book confirms that the tree recognizes Dante as Urizen, which is why it pumps him full of blood. The only difference in strength that the only difference in strength that Dante's missing is about 2 days worth of blood. Because right after they're finished fighting, well, 2 days and like I think 16 something hours, however long Dante's fighting Urizen in, because Urizen's sitting in the blood pool, getting pumped full of blood the entire time. Save for that time period, Dante has the exact level of blood that Urizen has, because as soon as he lands out there, the Qliphoth immediately recognizes him and is like, "Oh, my Lord Urizen, let me hear you. Here's your blood." I don't know how it works exactly, whether it like folds out to meet him.
I'm gonna say fucking Urizen got a little more blood since he was directly connected to the tree, but
both of them recognize.
It was just splashing him with all the blood Urizen had connected to himself. Dante was just getting fucking super
again, like
he's
connected. He's connected to that tree. He's literally like combining his body with it. So yeah, I would suggest that they had equal levels of blood, even if it wasn't visually being shown. Urizen just happens to have a giant pool of blood that he's sitting in, but he's not even absorbing that. It just happens to be sitting at his feet.
Of course, Mangler, you gotta have a nice little pool.
So when it says, "Oh, it combined," like why is Sin DT stronger than Urizen's plot fruit? Understand saying it's stronger, like just saying that blatantly without context is pretty like silly. Marginally stronger is probably a better term, because Dante barely beat Fruit Urizen. Like, he is exhausted after that fight.
Phase 4 Dante laughs in the corner.
Yeah, okay, you can say he was definitely stronger, but again, like, after he finishes the fight, he has nothing. Virgil is like, "Hey, heal your wounds. Defeating you like this has no meaning." So, if you need statements, the game literally confirms it. It shows it. There are feats, statements. There's everything that determines that he barely was able to beat Urizen. So yeah, we would assume the last portion of it is from him fusing the Sparta with what's it called? The Rebellion. This just means the Sparta had more demonic power. Either that, or it was being multiplied. Considering blood is a multiplier, but yeah, we'll get into that later.
If Capcom would love to someday confirm how Sin DT actually fucking works. Alright, so I'll say this. I'm still annoyed that Virgil's Sin DT did not change from his normal DT Devil Trigger at all. It's still the same Hammerhead fucking shark it's been since fucking 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck?
this shit up as they go along.
Also, the last one is why didn't if it's stronger, it's not that it's stronger. Again, base Dante is just more powerful than
No,
Urizen.
I mean, we would have to assume the Sparta sword is stronger than the fruit, because if it wasn't, Urizen should have won that fight.
Well, no, because base Dante was already close to him. I'm just saying, like they clearly combined together. Their total strength was what made the Sin DT.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. Like, again, so Urizen and Dante are more or less equal. Dante gets the Sparta sword, and for some reason can't hurt Urizen significantly during their first encounter. I'm going to assume the armor is actually good for something. And then Urizen needs the fruit. If they were comparable in base forms, and Dante is stronger after they both get their power up, we would have to assume the Sparta sword is a stronger source of power, or the fruit just adds on and the Sparta sword multiplies. One or the other.
I mean, they could both be multipliers. It's just the fact that like
the Sparta sword
they're
has
already
to be greater.
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that.
Because then he immediately goes to fight fucking Virgil afterwards, and Virgil is stronger than Urizen.
Because we have good reason to believe that, for anyone who's unfamiliar, that Sparta is still like stronger than some of the stronger versions of Dante. I don't know about DMC5 Dante, but he's based on statements. We have no reason to suggest he's stronger than
retcons
he
were
was.
so fucking stupid. You have two
And
games saying Sparta
no,
was
it is
weaker.
never stated. It is never stated that Dante surpasses his father.
DMC2 laughs in the corner.
It's stated in 4 and 1 that some people believe, he says, and all.
DMC2 just fucking laughs.
Hey. we gotta go over this because this person we're responding to doesn't seem to know this. Some people, again, well, the only people who credibly know what Sparta's full power are Mundus, maybe Argosax, if you want to be like, if you really want to like reach, because there's, based on what Zim and I have argued about, there's good reason to believe he probably sealed Timonagru before.
Go ahead.
And then maybe Ava, if he just told Ava exactly how strong he was. But that doesn't even work because Argosax was sealed away and Dante never bothered to have a conversation with brains out. Mundus never bothered to have a conversation with him. All he said is that I see the same light in your eyes as I see in Sparta's eyes. And then he killed him when he sealed him away because he died in transit. Read Visions of V because it confirms it. Well, he never bothers asking Ava this when he's 8 years old because he doesn't have a reason in context to do so. And Ava dies in the attack on their house. So he doesn't really get to ask her a question. So the only person that I can think of that might be able to mention this is like, what's it called? The lady from Vita Marley, Mathieu from DMC2, Lucia's mother. But that's also assuming Sparta just told her exactly how strong. And there's really no reason for Sparta to do that unless it's relevant to a conversation that they're having. But again, we don't have confirmation that they have a conversation like that. So when you see a statement that says some people believe, some would say he surpassed his father's power, again, like, through what credibility is this statement's like validated? Like, who are we to believe that they've surpassed Sparta's power? We don't know exactly how strong it is, and he sealed his power multiple times. And there's no the only people he could have told, assuming he even told them, are dead. Except for one who doesn't have a reason to tell Dante. And that's assuming they even had the conversation. Like, you have to do like so much headcanon to get to the conclusion that like that would be relevant, or that they would have that information. Sorry.
No, sorry about that. Me and my brother were discussing things in the background. Why let you carry the video?
It's not like we're doing a video or anything.
Oh, you look like you sound like you had like a lot to say.
So the last one that I wanted to go over is why doesn't Virgil use Rebellion to split to combine himself?
Yeah, very very fucking clearly he missed the entire point of the fucking Sin DT scene. I don't understand how that's possible. It's literally...
even if we wanted to say Rebellion didn't need that and it just needed Yamato, how is he going to get Rebellion? What's he gonna do? Walk up to Dante's office
He's gonna
and
wait
be
while
like,
Dante's
"Hey,
in the
I'm
shower
alive."
and then take Rebellion.
Because you do realize that if you've seen the anime, Dante can summon Rebellion to his position anytime he wants.
I now
Like he
want a
literally.
headcanon that Dante uses Rebellion like a back sponge.
Also, Rebellion is according to DMC4, is the physical manifestation of his power, so he can literally sense it. So the idea that like Virgil, who he can also sense, is going to walk into close proximity of his shop while he's also dying. By the way, he's also dying because DMC1 and the corruption and that scene. So he's dying. He's going to walk to his office to a sword that he can sense actively, hoping he can catch him off guard and somehow just grab the stick and then stab himself. And also fend off Dante and assume Dante won't stop him. Like, yeah, no, this is massive headcanon. Why? How would Virgil stop? No.
All right, let's continue.
At the end anyway. How? Are they just making this shit up as they go along? Where the fuck is Dante's amulet? Do we not talk about the amulet?
Okay, so next question is, where is Dante's amulet? To be fair, the amulet was originally connected to the Sword Sparta, but then in DMC1 he gives it to Trish, and then we never see the amulet again. So I'm just going to assume the amulet is back in the Sword Sparta, because DMC3 kind of retcons that you need the fucking amulet in the Sparta to make it work.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, like, where is the amulet? I mean, it's in the Sparta sword. Like,
well, no, it's because so he actually shows a scene about this. Hang on.
Amulet anymore? Why is blood?
Oh, okay, never mind. So he goes into why is blood the source of demon's power now.
Yeah, well,
question.
Well, the amulet thing is simple. It's in the Sparta sword. Like, why is it relevant now? Well, it was only relevant of stealing Temenegru and making the Sparta sword. It served its purpose as as a plot device, and
it has served its purpose well. It can go now.
As far as like symbolism, I mean, Dante still considers it pretty important in his family because he thinks it's just the piece from his mother and the piece from his father working together to become the Sparta sword. That's sort of the symbolism. And Dante already had his character arc in DMC1, but like, hey, the Sparta still has massive significance in 5 because it ends up fusing to make DSD, which is the only reason he's able to beat Eurus. So,
alright, family, help me beat the shit out of my other brother! That's basically what happened. No wonder Virgil has fucking mommy issues.
Yeah.
Why is blood the source of a demon's power is the next question. Let me make sure there's no like other caveats with it.
Now the source of demon's power. Does anyone care that
Hang on a
Virgil
minute. I'm
killed
going through these questions as I see.
Okay, so the next two questions are your standard, why does no one care Virgil killed all these people, and why is blood the source of a demon's power? I'm going to be right up front.
Let's go over the blood one.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's always been the thing. Like,
well, technically, no. Like, because technically it was originally human souls were a demon's power, according to DMC2's novel, which is the only one that gives us information.
Oh wait, why is... Well, as far as, like, whether blood is the source of the demonic power... Well, I mean, yes and no. Souls are a form of their power. It's never stated that souls are the source of their power. It's just that souls are what keeps them alive.
This
is
simply a piece of information that doesn't change anything, except that it explains why Mundus wanted the human world so badly.
Yeah.
So it's not really a bad change, but it is a change that happened only in DMC5. You would never have guessed this from the other games.
But again, like most of these, just like a lot of these other questions, these are questions that are happening like in context after the game has come out, and they're phrased in a way that it's like I'm genuinely concerned or confused. But like,
no, he did not like this the way this game was written.
If you went back and looked at any of the lore in the series, you would realize that most of these either help the series or don't hurt it. And even if you're not trying to prove those things specifically, the wording and the editing of your videos very much...
He does talk about this later in the video. I think like at the 10-minute mark he talks about this. And goodness gracious me, again, so almost an hour and we're not even done with the first 5 fucking minutes.
Again,
I did not believe that guy on the stream when he said that the first 1 hour and 30-minute video was for the first 5 minutes until I watched the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
All right, so the second one is because we don't need to focus on blood too much. That's a complete change in DMC5 add-on that has nothing to do with the other games. Doesn't change anything.
Why is we'll go to the virtual killing everybody. I want to cover the two questions. Why is the van indestructible? Why is Dante so aloof? Well, Dante is generally pretty aloof about a lot of things that he doesn't know, as most people are anyway. Because if you haven't noticed, he doesn't really do research into Sparta or information outside of stuff that's directly related to his revenge against Mundus, as confirmed by the history of DMC5 on the title screen of DMC5 that he was searching for information about Mundus. That's kind of bullshit as far as pre DMC5, because there was never any indication that he knew about Mundus at all. But that's fine with me. We knew he was at least researching stuff about his father and stuff related to his father prior to 1, because his family was still relevant.
Dante technically knew about Mundus from Where to Go, if we assume DMC1's intro trailer is accurate, because he recognized Mundus' name instantly.
Well, no, though, he doesn't, because Trish just says, when he says, "My master Mundus," he doesn't really react. He only reacts to her face because he sees, "Oh, you look like my mommy." I'm saying, she has, when she does the 20 years ago he resurrected, he's just kind of following along the conversation, yeah.
I totally know what that is.
I'm just saying, as far as retroactively, whether or not he's aloof to a lot of things going on, well, again, he was never given information about the Qliphoth. The only people who knew about the Qliphoth were the people who ate it, which was Mundus, and he killed him before he asked him any questions. A lot of these things are just the reason why he didn't ask these questions. He has no reason in context to ask these questions, and the only people who can give him answers are people he came there or was hired to kill or has a personal vendetta against. So it makes perfect sense that he does, and it shouldn't. I get it if you wanted him to be a more intelligent character, but whether or not he's aloof in this game is, again, it's not like this wasn't happening in other games.
To be fair, he does bring this up as well. Characters are very aloof in this game when it comes to vital information.
I'll get to that in a sec, but indestructible. That's just a gag. There's no other way to explain. You could argue it's made from material and Fortuna, the same swords and also,
shit.
Being indestructible, I mean, it's never stated it's indestructible. It can just break through freaking concrete.
It is very clearly more durable than your standard minivan.
Yeah, sure, but again, this isn't a world where you can fucking make a motorcycle sword where
in this case,
standard humans Lady can freaking tank the splash damage of a rocket launcher, or she can shoot people in the back of a freeway with basically no accuracy and dim light, driving 50 miles an hour. Again, the kinds of feats that Lady does just shows that even basic humans can do this. So we would assume that their technology is capable.
Bold of you to assume Lady's a basic human.
I'm saying they're standard of human.
No, very, very clearly we're dealing with comic humans here, where they're just vastly superior to fucking what they're supposed to be.
And then for the Virgil thing.
This gets brought up all the fucking time. Why do people just forgive Virgil for all the millions he killed? Okay, so we've already said this. The Sparta family doesn't really care about people. They only care about people they care about. But more importantly than that,
he's gonna make a broad claim that Virgil. He does state that Virgil in DMC3 that Dante was a hero in DMC3. We're gonna get into that.
You could fucking call it that. Maybe I guess you could.
I mean, if you're just missing valuable context, but sure.
I mean, you could. Virgil's the antagonist, clearly.
Yeah, no, definitely he's an antagonist. But saying he's a villain, you would have to prove his existence is a net negative to the people who are affected by the effects of the story, and it's not, because he's the reason Mundus gets defeated. Town. As far as why does anyone really care? No one in the story really, except for Nero. Nero's really the only one who gives a shit.
He does bring up Nero about that later.
But even if they did care, we'll get to why they don't care. But even if they did care, why is it relevant? Because Like, why is it relevant that they care about the people getting murdered? This is not the question of morality. It's like, why is it relevant to the story? Because all it would mean is that they'd be complaining that people are dying, and they'd be more convicted to fight the exact same battles and do just as well.
Damn it, Virgil! You've killed more people again. I'm gonna have to fucking stop you again.
As far as whether or not they don't care, they don't care. They never did. They're on a job. They're there on a job to stop the person who's doing the killing. Isn't that enough? Like, do they have to care? Like,
yes.
like,
they have to care.
What if they were? Because what if they were caring but not stopping them? Like, I mean, this is sort of like a shitty retort. But my point being, like, it's not relevant to the story that they do care. Does anyone care? No, they don't. That answers your question.
All right. I was gonna say that you can't really put the bodies of Urizen on Virgil because
no. You can't even put that. That's what I'm even getting in. You can't put bodies on Virgil when Virgil is literally dying, and all he has to do, like, he's trying to live. He just wants to live, and the only way he knows how to is to split himself in half. You could say he did it to fight Dante, but he also only did it to fight Dante. He thought he was going to have full control of his body.
And then he was wrong.
Yeah, if he had known that was going to happen, I bet you he probably wouldn't have done it.
Well, hang on. I mean, this was still his only chance to survive.
Well, yeah, okay, so it's, in context, it's like, even if it wasn't for the corruption, things would have turned out differently. If Virgil was in full health, he would have just gone straight to Dante's office and challenged him. He wouldn't have involved any other human beings.
Dante, get over here and catch this fate again.
Yeah, the only reason he does that is because he's dying. And once he realizes, oh, I don't have control of any of my demonic powers, and like, you could say, well, he does this, V says he could only do one thing with the crumbling flesh and the feelings. Yeah, because he thought it was his human side that was literally poisoning him. He didn't realize Mundus' corruption from his time as Nello Angelo was literally killing him. He had no idea. But then again, he was under mind control for an entire decade. It's not as if Mundus gave him an explanation. Hey, by the way, if you ever break out of that armor, you're gonna fucking die. Like, it doesn't give them that.
Not throw out your human half. Just saying. Word of
So,
advice.
Again, like, you would know this if you just played DMC1. How do you not know this? Do you really think Mundus decided to sit Nello down and was like, by the way, if you ever leave the armor, you're gonna die of the virus that I put on your body that directly controls you.
But don't worry about that, because you're gonna be like mine forever.
Yeah.
Alright, so continue.
Why don't they just stay there? Also, why doesn't Lady ever leave the van? When did Lady get her clothes back? Why is she wearing a jumpsuit?
Okay, so 3 of them regarding Lady. Why does Lady never leave the van? I'm just gonna say plot, and we're gonna skip over that one because there's no real narrative reason for that one. How does Lady get her clothes back? That actually is a good question, because, well, no, is Trish with them when Lady shows up in the Qliphoth tree with her clothes back on?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say, because if Trish is with them, you could argue Trish made her clothes for her, because Trish can do that. So you could easily argue that one. You can easily say that one.
Wait, I'm gonna try and get all the lady questions. So you just keep going. I'll just grab as many of them as I can, and I'll try and go through all of them.
If they had her real clothes, where do Trish's clothes come from?
Where did Trish's clothes come from? Oh, gotta love the fact that it's literally not just shown she creates them on the spot. Love that.
Yeah, so why does Lady look so young? Why does she wear a jumpsuit? Why does she never leave the van? What is Lady going to contribute to by leaving the van? Like, what's she going to do? Go shoot some demons?
Yeah. I already said that narratively there's like nothing really she could do at that point.
It's not just narratively, like, power-wise. What is she going to do? What's she going to do? Go headshot Malphus?
She's going to provide Dante emotional support.
Yeah, no, seriously, like, it's... maybe this is sort of a controversial thing. I love Lady being in DMC5. It's just, I hated the fact that she couldn't do anything, but, like, that's ultimately the reality, is that those demons are way stronger. I don't know if this guy noticed this, but in the first scene, it's explained on various scenes that the demons no longer have to possess bodies. They don't have to possess mounds of sand when they move over to the world like they did in the first 4 games, because the barriers between the human world and the demon world are breaking down. This is explained in the gallery descriptions as well. Demons are stronger now. They don't have to, like, they're coming forward in their true form. That's why when the SWAT team unloads a million gazillion rounds into their body, the best that they do is fall over. And you're thinking that Lady with, like, again, fully automatic rounds and a rocket launcher is going to do any better than, like, trained SWAT militia? Like, I mean, she probably would survive longer, but the idea that firearms would be more effective, her main weapon to killing demons, is just silly. So, no. Why does Lady look younger? Okay, that one has escaped me. But then again, other people have asked this question, so I'm more so responding to them than I am to you, to be the same thing. Anything to add?
Looking younger. I'm just gonna go ahead and just chalk that up to the engine specifically.
Hang on, I'm going forward. So,
Right, so where does V's clothes come from? Where
did Trish's clothes come from as well?
Again, like Trish, she created them on the spot. I don't understand how you could have missed that. V, to be fair, we don't find out how V gets his clothes till the manga, which came out. Actually, is already out by this point because it's out. I think
Yeah, no. If you're saying like this is a problem, like again. It's like I shouldn't have to. If the argument is like I shouldn't have to read outside sources, boy, the manga. Well, not even the manga. The novels 1 and 2, as well as the anime, are referenced and are canon. I mean, I'll argue the canonical effects of one's novel, but there are things in one's novel that are canon, and you have to read them. They are mentioned and referenced in the DMC5. That's without even mentioning Matt Walker's statements that confirm all the novels are canon. So,
God, we're not
even without
5-minute mark.
Even if we ignored one or two, yeah, we're going to be here for several hours. Even if we ignored 1 or 2, 3's manga is incredibly relevant to 3's plot. It literally explains the whole reason he's able to awaken the Temenagru. Deadly Fortune novel is incredibly relevant because it goes over all the events of 4 in much greater detail. And it also explains... Yeah, no. It also explains, like, how, like, you know, freaking stuff about Nero's Bringer, Nello Angelo's armor, that kind of stuff. You won't get that if you don't read those. And all of those are confirmed to be canon. So if you want to tell me you didn't get that explanation in 5, okay, but that's not a mark against this game because it's covered in material and resource that's related and tied to the game after the game. It's literally labeled Devil May Cry 5, Visions of V. So, as for where he got it, he stole it off of a hobo. Like some dude that thought he was gonna mug V, and then that turned out the opposite way.
Where do V's clothes come from? Why does Lady look so young? Why does Dante look so old? Since when does Lady take orders from Nero?
Okay, so why does Dante look so old, and since when does Lady take orders from Nero? Probably when she kind of realized that Nero's the one who can do something.
Well, as far as that, like, why does Lady look so bored? Why is she such a bitch? Why does she take... I'm going to cover all those in Don Soul. Sorry to cut you off.
Right,
Lady's not a bitch. She's just tired from being shoved inside of a demon for a month. And, she hasn't any food or water. And she was just kind of sustained in there in, like, a comatose state. Why is she such a bitch? I mean, it'd be more accurate to say, why is she feeling a certain kind of way after waking up from a coma? Like, I'm going to ignore... Stupid question. I'm going to ignore that.
Why does she take orders from Nero?
Nero asks her to get some rest. And that's exactly what she tries to do. Nico decides, hey, you're going to work. It'd be more accurate to say, why is Nico asking her to, like, do work after she's told to get some rest? Which is literally what she tells Nico. When Nico tells her, it's like, I was told to get some rest. It's like, well, you're going to work. Like, again, like, why is Nero among them? Nero is asking her to get some rest, because even though he doesn't know her, he knows Dante knows her, and he knows that Dante would be more comfortable knowing that she's safe. So he's asking, hey, I just rescued you from a month-long coma. It'd be better if you got some rest. Like, it's not... like taking some orders, just like, yeah, maybe it'd just be good advice. It's not like he's forcing her. She can choose not to take a nap.
Apparently she can't because Nico steps up and changes that completely.
So why is Dante so old?
Why is
Dante
she so
ages.
boring? Why is she such a bitch? Why would he even
There. Like, I don't know if you're aware. Wait, what?
Dante looks old because he just grew a beard.
Oh, yeah, like he didn't have a beard in 4. He was literally getting a 5 o'clock shadow.
No, he had peach fuzz in 4, Mingler. He had peach fuzz. Big difference. Now he has a somewhat respectable stubble. Eva, why is Eva locked Dante in the closet and tell him to change his name as if she knows she's gonna die right then and there?
Yeah, no,
because
she honestly
probably knew she was gonna die right then and there.
Yeah, like it's more likely that again she thinks she has enough time to reach Virgil. That's literally what she says. She just puts him there so that she knows where he is. And she says, if I don't come back, meaning, if I die in like the next couple minutes or so,
Literally
you need to get out of here.
seconds.
Yeah, but the reason she puts him in there is because he's just close by. Like again, why else would you put your child in a closet when someone's attacking your home? You want them to hide.
I think the idea here was that it's a flaming house, so why would she put him in a wooden closet?
Well, actually, if you look at DMC5 from where it is when Virgil visits their house, in the flashbacks that V explains, it's very clearly not all on fire. A lot of it was intact. Only portions of it were burned. So that's not even irrelevant. That's not even like a relevant like criticism.
Just gonna throw that one out there.
I know, but like the fire that they were burning didn't burn all portions of the building. Even then,
assume someone came by to fucking like put out the fire, given that it's fucking city actually.
I'm just saying like her concern is putting Dante in safety and going to get Virgil. That's what like again that's the last thing that she does before she dies is going to save. But I'm assuming she was running outside to go find him. But
we'll assume the best here.
Yeah, well, I mean, she like again, her first instinct as a mother is to
try to protect her children, so we should
always assume the best because that's like literally her dying declaration.
And start a new life. Did you know?
Why didn't Dante tell Nero he
about to be crushed off screen?
Okay, this is a complaint for prior to the game. Once the game starts, this is no longer like really relevant because Dante is already on a mission and he doesn't have a time to have a conversation with Nero until like mission 14 or like mission 13. Okay, and at that point, they have to stop. We'll go ahead.
I will put Nero's reaction and shock squarely on Nero. Yes, Dante could have told Nero that Virgil was his father at some point, but Nero should have figured out by now that one of these two is his father.
Well, as far as I think there's a little bit of nuance to be clear. So Nero should have connected some dots. Sanctus confirmed to him he is a descendant of Sparta. He grew up in a town where they literally worshipped Sparta and told him all of this information all the time. Even if he didn't really care, it was confirmed that he did believe in God and Sparta as they claimed, as their religion was pertained. He believed in that into a certain portion of his life until Kyrie's parents died. So he still would have internalized all that information as a child, and that Sparta had a thing. I don't know if they told him Sparta ever had a son, but they confirmed multiple times in DMC4 that Dante is the son. So there's no way he doesn't know that Dante is Sparta. And if it's like, oh, you're a descendant of Sparta, and he can recognize that Dante is like in his mid-30s, and someone's telling him he's a descendant of Sparta, like again, it's his own fault for not asking Dante or having a conversation with him. It's also Dante's fault for not having a conversation. It's both their fault. But none of that in the context of 5, because in 5 they're on a job. Their focus right there is to stop Urizen, not to ask questions about each other. The reason Dante waits until that moment is because there is no sooner moment. He has good reason to believe that he's about to fight someone who is the strongest person he's ever fought, and he could be dying, and he doesn't want Nero there, because he doesn't want Nero to either fight or kill his own father, or be killed by his own. Because that's what he thinks is going to happen, so he's like, fuck it, I don't have another opportunity to tell you.
Nero, He is your father.
Did you have any say? Do you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, I mean that's fine. Again, like I don't hold fucking Dante responsible for Nero being a fucking idiot. Nero should have figured out, even without being told directly, that one of these two is his father. Because I hate to break this to you, it's not like running into someone else who's blonde and like, oh, you guys aren't related just because you're both blonde. This man has your exact phenotype. You should have realized there's a connection here.
Why? He also says, why doesn't Dante tell Eve?
Is Virgil so
Why doesn't Dante tell
hang on,
Virgil
let
Eva?
me play the questions real quickly.
stupid? Why is fighting Dante all he cares about now? Is the only reason Dante and Virgil can't stop fighting so that Nero can have that big moment at the end where he says stop fighting and then proceeds to fight both of them?
Okay, so all these are actually plot based. I guess one of different questions here because he just immediately goes off on like, so why is Virgil so dumb?
Yeah, no.
Why is Virgil
All of it is
fighting
just
Dante?
mission 20 stuff at this point. So, why does Dante not tell Virgil that Ava loves him? Well, he does. He tells Urizen that Ava loved him. As far as like why he didn't tell him that before, again, the only point he had to talk to Virgil in a sentient form was in 3. And at that point, he was more concerned with stopping Virgil from, again, like, actually, even in 3, I can't even say that's accurate because he doesn't even give a shit about stopping Virgil for 2/3 of the game. He only starts caring once he has, like, multiple encounters with Lady. By the time Lady leaves the Lair of Judgment, he starts to have a change of heart because he realizes what her commitment to kill her father, to take responsibility for her family's actions. So he feels the need to go up there because he also doesn't want. He doesn't feel like she needs to put herself in further danger, and he feels like it's now his responsibility. And by the time he fully has the fight with Lady, he understands, oh, this is my responsibility now. So yeah, you could have told him like, oh, at that point, Ava loved you, but how is that relevant? How is that going to stop? Like, you have to understand that from Dante's perspective.
Virgil,
How is that
stop
going to
being a dick. Eva loved you too.
like Virgil never makes it clear at any point that he thinks Ava abandoned him in DMC. That's never on his mind. We're never shown that as. So even if you wanted to say Virgil would have loved, like, oh hey, Virgil, like Ava loved you too, like that's not relevant. Like especially since that Virgil actually shows that he cares about Dante in some form or fashion.
Relevant to Virgil, Mangler.
So they don't even mention their mother except in the manga, and the only time they mention that is when when Dante says like what's it called when Virgil says like this world will be overrun by demons. It's like no, you can't do Virgil mom was killed by demons. That's the only time they refer to that. And then he says, I know, and then I have to do this, and I'll kill anyone who stands in my way. And that's where their conversation ends. They have a massive philosophical divide, and they don't want to communicate with each other. The only time Dante opens up is after that when they start having the conversation at the end. But at that point, the portal is closing. They don't have enough time. He either needs to beat Virgil or be beaten by Virgil. So...
don't grab the sword and yank him back to the other side. That would be ridiculous.
As far as why he doesn't tell him that after the fact, after he comes back from being Urizen, it's because he already told him it as Urizen and he just assumed he heard it. Like,
hey,
again,
Virgil, you heard that important detail about mom loving you and shit, right? What?
Yeah. When I told an amnesiac version of you that can't remember anything.
Virgil totally remembered that.
But again, Dante doesn't know that. Like he doesn't know that Urizen is.
He's just feigning ignorance pretty hard here, Mangler. Just gonna be real here.
No, he isn't. Like, come on.
So come on, give him some credit.
Why is Virgil so stupid?
Yeah.
Why is fighting Dante all he cares about?
I don't really understand which one that one.
Wait, hang on. I'm gonna go through them all so I can remember them. We do need to speed this up. So why is Virgil so stupid? Why is fighting Dante all he cares about? Is the only reason Dante and Virgil so that Nero can have that big moment at the end where they stop you and then he stops their fighting? And one more. Hang on.
The answer to that question was a yes.
Okay. there are a lot of questions, and it really makes me twin or TTRR, as I'm gonna refer to you, really makes me wonder if you like read the lore, because you also ask like, why does Dante say he doesn't? Why does Virgil say he doesn't care about his son, but then says Nero is my son? Why is Virgil alive? Okay, whew, that's a lot. All right, so why don't we go over the big one first? Why is Virgil alive? It's never confirmed he's dead.
You plebeians never knew the truth.
Again, it's never once confirmed he is dead. You read history of DMC, either one says. Even if you wanted to say that the first history of DMC confirms he's dead because it says departed soul, that the armor holds the vanquished soul of his brother Virgil. But Visions of V does retcon certain aspects of that in the sense that it confirms his entire body and his entire soul is encased inside the Nella.
I'm gonna be honest here with you guys. You guys really made a fucking really whack stretch with that one. You got so for those of you who don't know, there was a popular theory after the sort of new fucking content came out for DMC5 that only Virgil's soul was in the fucking suit of armor.
Well, it wasn't a popular theory. That was the only thing we had to go.
No, wasn't the only thing you had to fucking go with. You could have been like everyone else, or at the very least, I guess like me, and realized his body is in the fucking armor because you see his fucking face in there.
No, well, I had already explained why this was. It's that his soul literally is a representation of like what his existence is, which would include what he remembered his body to be, and it can fill out. It's a lot harder to prove that his body grew to the size of like an 8-foot being than it is to prove that his soul literally just filled out the physical representation of that armor.
He's clearly wearing elevator pads.
Ugh. You know, I never thought about that. I should have considered that possibility.
I know. It's okay. That's why I'm here.
I'm just saying the game literally states it wears, like, it has the soul of his brother Virgil. So everybody's like, yeah, I guess only his soul is in there because only his soul is confirmed. I mean, granted, there could have been other things, but like Visions of E confirms his entire body's in there, and then when he disappears, there's never a statement that he's dead. Mundus even says, Trish, Virgil has been defeated. He never says Virgil has died or Virgil has been killed by Dante.
Don't need to tell me that.
Why does Virgil say he doesn't care about his son, but then he's surprised when he says Nero is? Well, because he doesn't know that Nero definitively is his son. Like, again, Visions of E just had a chapter that dropped that does sort of like poke some holes in this, and that Griffin mentions to him he's either Dante or Virgil's son. Well, at that point, he hasn't spent any time with Nero, so he doesn't know who Nero is as a person, and he's just there to stop Urizen. Like, he's just there to stop Urizen and to reclaim who he is as a person. But after the events of DMC5, Nero not only shows sympathy to him, Nero like literally gets him to his goals and helps him acquire them. And Nero is the only person that gives a fuck about him the entire game. So when the time comes and he's like, yeah, no, Nero's pretty cool, and he's just like, dude, you cut off your own son's arms for this? And he's just like, wait, Nero's my son? He's like, yeah. He's like, oh shit!
Dante, could you have done
that guy.
One thing right?
Yeah, no, he has no idea. Like, it's okay. So it's one thing. Like, V knows he's the guy that cut off Nero's arm, and he suspects, yeah, he's either Dante or Virgil's son. But like, when Dante just flat out tells him he's your son, it's like, oh, he's your son in context of everything that you've done with him, when I now have a reason to care about his well-being. I mean, I don't know if you noticed this, but like right before Virgil leaves, he says, thank you, Nero. He expresses gratitude to the first person ever. He's just like, oh, I actually remember you. Thank you for your stuff. But he didn't even know Nero was his son. And when Nero fights him, he's literally like, stop fighting. Like, he doesn't ask him to keep fighting. He actually asks him to stand down. He doesn't want to fight Nero. And then Nero just tells me it has everything to do with me, and then he's just like genuinely concerned that Nero feels compelled to fight this way with him. So, and then of course Nero, he's proud after that.
Could you not be like your uncle, please? Could you not be a fucking idiot, please?
Yeah, it's also because of the fact that Nero is the only one who shows up to talk about him. If you didn't know this from the end of the game, then you weren't paying attention. Like you're terrible at like reading cutscenes. If that's true, I'm sorry. And then we'll get to why is Virgil so dumb? Why does Nero have that big moment? I think there was one more question.
Hang on, let me scroll.
Stop fighting and then proceeds to fight both of them to stop them from the initial fighting. Why does Virgil say that he doesn't care about his son when fighting Dante, but then immediately tells Dante?
Why is Virgil so stupid? Why is as far as why fighting Dante is all
You're lagging there?
as far as why is Dante fighting Dante all he cares about right now? Well, it's very clear that he's angry at him for some of the fallout of the events after DMC1, though it's not. Well, okay, it's sort of indirectly explained that, like, again, he believes after suffering countless defeat after defeat. It's never explained that the defeats, or elaborated that the defeats are from Dante. Even if you wanted to insinuate that, Virgil's smart enough to know that he didn't lose enough times to Dante for that to be, like, significant. Especially since the losses that he had in DMC3 were just for the heck of it. Like, Dante just happened to be in his way. Like, he was there to get the amulet, he was there to open the seal, and he was there to get the Sparta sword. And Dante happened to be the one that was in his way, because he was the only one strong enough. So as far as Virgil having a problem with him, I mean, again, Dante is indirectly the reason why he's Nello. If Dante had just fucked off and let him have the amulets, he would have gotten all the power that he needed, and then he would have either killed Mundus or just, again, lived his life. He has no reason to take over the human world. Maybe this hasn't occurred to you because I have to mention this, but, like, Virgil isn't a villain. He just wants the power to protect himself. He just wants to be left alone. Well, he wants to be protected and loved. That's what V is confirmed. But he believes that the only way he's going to have a position of love or, like, affection from other people is if he has enough power to guarantee that they can't harm him. And that is the point. He knows Mundus killed his entire family. It's not stated that he's going to kill Mundus with the Force Edge. However, he knows fully well that Mundus is responsible, and he knows the Force Edge will beat his ass, so, like, you can make a strong argument that he would have been compelled to into the demon world, full Sparta form and everything, and just trash Mundus and kill him, not seal him. It's also confirmed and before the nightmare that Virgil, in a full condition, would have been able to kill Mundus anyway. So
Mundus, get over here and take this L.
Yeah, so if it wasn't for Dante, especially since V in Visions of V explains that the reason that he loses is because he thinks like Dante was a little bit more complete or better than him. He very much holds grudges against Dante for what happens in 3. And by definition, literally everything that happens in becomes a slave to Mundus because he lost to Dante. Because he fell off the cliff. If you want to tell me, he couldn't do that, again, the closing, Dante didn't have enough time. Virgil didn't want to take that chance of leaving his only sibling in the demon world, but, like, again, he has every right to hate Dante for, like, leaving him at the same time. Even though he created portions of that circumstance, this could have been avoided if Dante wasn't involved at all. And it's just Virgil was not prepared to kill Dante. Like, I know that's a lot to unpack, but, like, you probably weren't paying attention to DMC3 if you didn't catch up on any of this stuff.
1 hour and 30 minutes almost. Goodness gracious me, we're matching that one guy for fucking time.
I know.
So much to fucking discuss, apparently.
The reason Nero, for Dante fighting because Nero shows up. I mean, Insuno literally confirmed he wanted the climax, like the full, like, climax of the game, or at least the biggest moment of the game, to revolve around Nero being the bridge between Dante and Virgil's opposing worlds. And it makes sense because Nero believes what both of them believe. Nero believes that, like, power does control everything. That might controls everything.
So Nero's
but, like, power, right? But it only matters if you have things that you can protect, which is Dante and Virgil's philosophies, just split in half. Nero holds both of those philosophies, which is why he is the reason that they stop fighting. not only because he has the power to do so, but like it makes sense in context for him to be the one to do that. It makes perfect sense, and it's a great moment. It's one of the best moments in the series, arguably Nero's best moment. So I mean, I guess it's the reason they stopped. As far as like, yeah, it's just to have like again, they for all intents and purposes, it's stated that the last blow would have killed each other. So Nero does arrive just to save their life.
Killed each other is a strong word, and we all know Virgil's gonna win.
Yeah, Virgil's holding back.
Virgil's got that one in the bag, dude. You're fucking crazy if you think otherwise. Alright, so let's continue forward.
Why does Dante decide to stay in the underworld? Why do Dante and Virgil walk away to cut down the clip floff like it was their plan all along, even though they've never talked about it before?
Okay, so these next two questions were honestly just really fucking stupid. Number one, why do Virgil and Dante go down to the Qliphoth tree like it was their plan to begin with? And why does Dante stay in the underworld with Virgil?
Well, I mean, he explains it because Virgil says, I'm more than capable of doing this on my own. And he says, you're going to need someone to watch your back. So he very clearly indicates that after the time spent fighting them and Nero being there, because Nero's appearance is sort of more of a proclamation to both of them, or rather a revelation that like they're not alone. That especially to Virgil, because Virgil is completely alone his entire life. So him someone showing up and saying, I'm going to beat the fuck out of you if you don't stop fighting because I care about you so much that I will beat you to death, makes Virgil start thinking that his life is a little bit more valuable. So when Dante decides maybe I should be making the same strides because someone actually, like, again, someone is actually there to protect the human world. I don't have to be there. He also states that it's because of you that we can go. Because Dante wants to go down there. He wants to be, like, he wants to have a family. He wants to have a brother. It's just they've never been able to resolve their issues because of conflicting events at the time, either Kemenagru or him being in Mundus. Now they've had an opportunity to have that closure, or at least they've been able to start mending the bridge. And Dante's not allowed to leave Virgil alone. Not because he thinks that Virgil's going to start some problems, it's just because, like, he knows Virgil's alone, and he doesn't want to leave him alone again. He doesn't want to abandon him anymore. So if they're going to get abandoned, he's going to go there with him. He's going to make sure they're at least both together. So, yeah, like, I mean, I don't know if you noticed the last scene, but, like, they're fighting each other on, like, as Zim has mentioned, on sparring rules, I think, right? Or fencing rules.
Yeah, essentially fencing rules. Because the way they seem to be working it out there is they can't, if they touch each other, the other loses. Like, whoever gets touched loses, and whoever takes a knee loses.
They also take score. So they're not trying to kill each other. They do fight while they're exhausted, but they're just like, hey, this is going to last forever, but we got plenty of time. And they're just enjoying themselves. They're just laughing and having fun. They're literally fucking around. They're siblings. They fight. But they're at least not trying to kill each other anymore. I wouldn't say that they've resolved their differences, but they've reached a compromise and they're working to sort of mend some of those wounds. And part of that is that Dante needs to be in the underworld to do that, because he needs to get mend wounds at a distance. He's not doing this over the phone.
Star Wars laughs at you. Alright, so let's continue forward.
If all they had to do was sever the clop roots, why did...
Okay, hang on. So he says, why do Dante and Virgil go down like it's their plan from the very beginning, and why did they go through the entire game if their plan was, if they just had to cut the Qliphoth tree down? This is gonna be, I'm just gonna answer this one quickly. Urizen would have stopped them from cutting down the fucking tree pretty easily, and Virgil literally tells them why they have to cut the tree apart right at the fucking end. A lot of the shit he complains about is in the same cutscene he fucking complains about.
I just this is like the Yamato can't cut through anything trope, and then is explained in the literal cutscene where it's like, oh, you were in tip-top condition, you'd be able to cut me into confetti, and then this is even worse because as he's literally showing the dialogue lines that explain the point he's missing. It's worse than the people who like downplay what Yamato can do, and they have a reason for wanting to downplay it because they're like disingenuous. This guy is just legitimately like ignorant. I'm sorry, but like at this point we've gone how long are we in? Like
We are currently at an hour and 33 minutes.
my god, we're not even to the main point.
Nope.
Separate this into 2 videos. Just for what the heck?
Understand that the first 5 minutes of this video has resulted in an hour and 30 minutes of us talking.
Yes.
Yes. I've literally been playing my mobile game in the background because it's been taking so long to do this sort of thing. So there's at least some gameplay being shown in the video.
And we have wasted no time. I thought we were like messing around. We have wasted no time. Everything we said here is like contributing to the conversation.
Yeah. This guy's provided so I'm gonna just try and speed through the fucking questions or the last one. So I'm just gonna go rapid fire here. Let's see what else we got.
Why did we waste so much time fighting Urizen? If Nero's never seen Virgil before, why does he wear a hood?
Virgil wearing a hood, that's already established in DMC4 that Virgil likes to go around in a hood. Not really quite sure what the fuck's the point of him not wearing a hood. Continue.
To hide his identity. At the very least, Nero would think that it was Dante, but wouldn't that help Virgil
very clearly Virgil's also trying to hide his fucking like corruption because that would draw attention that he doesn't want.
Yeah, also Virgil's trying to be stealthy, in case you've noticed that he's in Fortuna, and one of the main guards that they wear in Fortuna is the... So, like, it's a lot easier to not... Like, that's just part of them being a cult. He's been to Fortuna. He already knows this. Nero, when Nero's in the garage, he is currently located in Fortuna. This is confirmed in the Visions of V novel as well, though you didn't really need to confirm this anyway because he lives in Fortuna. And the whole reason he comes...
Don't fucking notice me.
Yeah, but it works because, again, the garb that they wear in Fortuna is a hood, which just happens to be what he's wearing.
It just happens to be Virgil's favorite attire.
Yeah. Also, he's just trying to not draw attention because he looks like a demon. He literally, like, his face is just Nello Angelo. So... understand that getting anyone's attention, he's trying to catch Nero completely off guard because he is dying. If he were at full health, then yeah, he probably would just march up there because if he were at full health, his face would have color. He wouldn't have to hide it. Well, he might still wear the...
Well, I was going to say that he could, like, Nero might recognize him as Dante and that would help him ambush him better.
But no, because then he would look at that and be like, wait a minute, you're not Dante because you don't have voice. I know what Dante sounds like.
You don't have Dante's beautiful jawline.
Also, Virgil doesn't know that Nero knows Dante. So, especially if he did, like... I mean, if he doesn't, alright, but, like, Dante... He knows Dante is well known. He knows that Dante defeated Mundus. He knows that people who know Dante know what... So... even if he tries to pull that crap, which that worked before in the DMC3 manga because Dante wasn't a devil. Now he is the legendary devil hunter. He is very well known among the devil hunters. So the idea that Virgil is just going to show up in the garage and just like pull his head off and be like, I'm Dante, and then has like thick, like veiny, like red shit going on his face, and like there's not going to be a problem. Like Nero's going to be like, hey,
seems pretty legit to me, man. They're going to be honest here.
Like, no, that's not gonna work. Is Yamato his arm? No, it's literally shown that he absorbs the sword into the bringer.
Yeah, because then he goes on talking about like why didn't the other stuff of Yamato come out, stuff like that. And I guess to be fair, you could argue like why, like maybe like why doesn't Yamato, like why don't the other items come out, you know? But I guess you could also argue that fucking...
I mean, he never has a reason to summon those because they're not weapons.
So you could argue that Virgil does have those items. He just doesn't use them. Maybe Yamato gained. Maybe that's actually how Yamato gained. Maybe that's how Virgil gained the ability to clone people or to clone himself. Maybe that's from the flame in DMC fucking 4.
Yeah. So we got the big one in this. This is a massively stupid one, and this is stupid TV.
Oh, okay. So.
Why doesn't V tell Dante he's Virgil? Why would he tell Dante he's...
Bad ideas everywhere.
Okay. Maybe this hasn't occurred to you, but as soon as Dante learns that V... As soon as he connects the dots, he immediately tries to stop V from merging with Urizen. The only reason he's not able to is because, again, V never up front tells him, because Dante has never, like, again, it's never explained to Dante that Yamato has the ability to separate man from demon.
Although to be fair, he does figure it out relatively quickly, and then instantly
he does
the inverse fucking conclusion.
Well, no, he figures it out at a halfway point in the game, because he can. That's how he rationalizes that Rebellion must be able to combine. But he doesn't know that V is the human side. That's the problem. V never confirms that to him because V wants to merge with Urizen. So, if you've read the...
well, you can go to continue. I was just thinking, because I'm going to skip his fucking initial critiques of the timeline and shit, because like this video is already long enough as it is. Because he does some like headcanon for a little bit.
We're going to have to make a part 2 that covers over the main points. That'll probably be shorter than all of these questions, because there's so much we have to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my goodness. I didn't, I thought to myself, fucking, oh, well, an hour and 30 minutes for the first 5 minutes seems like a lot, but he fires so many fucking questions at you, and there's so much to, like, dissect in those questions, or at the very least, you can dissect a lot of those questions. Good God, what was this man thinking?
So, yeah, like, Dante would have just stopped him, so, my throat's getting a little hoarse.
So much bullshit to talk about.
Let's see. He didn't tell Dante. No, that's. Let's see. If Dante did know Urizen was, why didn't he tell Lady or Trish? A lot of this is explained in Visions of V. Granted, these chapters came out recently, but like if you kept up with this information, then like this isn't relevant anyway, because DMZ5 is going to be out much longer for the years following than it will be for the year now. So if you were doing a review afterwards, the person who's doing this review that's actually taken the time to learn the source material doesn't have the problems or the questions that you're addressing now. So it's relevant for me to mention that.
I mean, you could also say that there's no reason for them to know who Virgil is.
Yeah, no. That's without even getting into the context of this, because a lot of those things can just be addressed by like source material that you didn't read. Dante doesn't have a reason to tell them it's Virgil. First of all, it's not, the target's name isn't relevant. They're there for. Dante is convinced he's going to be killing him, and it will be his problem. He doesn't want to involve Lady and Trish anymore if necessary. They just happen to be there because Morrison brought them along.
Morrison doesn't like giving Dante a lot of money. That's going to be my new headcanon. He just doesn't like giving Dante lots of money. Alright, so let's continue forward. So he talks about the timeline swap and how that initially caught him off guard and how it was a bad idea. And I agree with him. The timeline swap.
Wait, I think you skipped a few questions about Dante's business.
Let me see.
Because he also says, why don't these characters communicate vital information to each other? Of all the examples that you've provided, DT, or TR, whatever. I'll just call you TR. Twin reviews.
I'll call him TTRR, Mangler, get it right.
Double T, double R, yeah. So the reason why they don't communicate in the examples that you've given is that they have reasons to do this, or they don't have reasons to do this. There are reasons in context why I don't mention information that's personal to Zim, because even if I find it relevant or helpful to him, I have to have a reason to bring it up in the first place. It's not like, I don't have to have, like, Dante doesn't have a reason during the course of the events of 5 to bring up the fact that Nero is Virgil's son, because on one hand, even though he suspects it, and then he says, oh, I saw how the Yamato reacted and I was sure he was your father, he never officially confirmed it. You need to remember that at the same time. Like, he's just like, oh, you must be, because you're not my son and I know you're a descendant. At the same time, it's like Nero is going on a blood path. He's going on the war path. He's bloodlusted. He wants to find Virgil and kill him. He even wants to kill Virgil even after, because he still wants to kill him up until the moment that Dante tells him he's his father, which includes the scene where he's carrying V, and V explains that there is no person named Urizen. He is Virgil. The reason V explains this to him is because he feels that he can trust Nero. And Nero's just like, yeah, okay, he's Virgil. I still want to kill Virgil, though. And
he's like, all right, See, it seems completely fair. Just get me to Virgil, and you can have your chance.
The reason Dante doesn't tell him is because he doesn't want Dante. He doesn't want Nero. First of all, he doesn't want to lose the only person that he believes is good. He believes Virgil is long gone. Let's be clear about that. Dante, Virgil blames Dante for everything that happened, and Dante isn't completely to blame. He is partially to blame. Dante blames Virgil for just being evil, because again, the entire game is shot from Dante's perspective. We never get to see anything about Virgil until 5 as far as his perspective. That's what makes these games so one-sided, because only Dante's perspective is being shown. That's why Virgil is portrayed as an antagonist. To Dante's perspective, Virgil is a villain.
Oh, good God, we're at 150.
I know. I know, I'm sorry. So, in actuality, as far as storytelling, Virgil is an antagonist because, again, his actions don't have a net negative. His actions have a net positive. He's responsible for killing Mundus. He's the reason Mundus gets defeated. So, as far as Nero, him being like, well, why don't I tell Nero that it's his father? Well, then Nero is going to be responsible. He knows for a fact that Nero spent the entire game of DMC4 trying to protect Kyrie because he feels that Kyrie is the only person left in his life that's worth anything, because as soon as Credo died, he's like, well, I just lost the other point of family that I have. Guess Kyrie is the only one left, and now it's going to be like, hey, Bombshell, your father's alive, and I'm going to murder him. Like, what? Yeah, no, why would you tell them that?
Just stay here, Nero. Just watch it happen.
Again, if you wanted to say in the context of the DMC timeline, I agree. They should have both of them should have made an effort to communicate this earlier, but not in the point, not during 5.
It's fine. It's fine.
No.
He actually does make a point later on about that. Yeah. Okay. So I think we got more or less the questions all the way. It's important to know that there is a couple of comments he himself makes regarding the story and how he would have fixed it. I'm not going to get too far into it we're not going to get too into detail at the very least here, because fucking Lord knows we've already gone through so much at this point. But so basically, I'm going to summarize the next. Well, hang on, are there any more questions before I go any further?
There are I think
Nero's absorbed a lot of stuff.
6 or 7 more questions.
Anyone that he's Virgil.
So some of them are pretty easy. Why is Dante's business failing? Again, did you read the source material? He's been going into debt in the anime. His business is going under. He closes his business at 9 p.m., according to DMC. And he only answers questions over the phone with customers that don't come into his shop with a password. It's also confirmed he only works 1 day a week. So yeah, why is his business going
I relate so
under?
Much to this character.
Yeah, no. Why is your business going under if you only work 1 day a week? You close at 9 p.m. If the customers don't immediately come to where your shop is, if they try to answer you over the phone and then place an appointment, if they don't have the password, you just tell them to go fuck themselves. I wonder why you're not.
Might not be the best business strategy.
Yeah. Why is Trish not there anymore? Well, I'm assuming to go hunt demons independently because Dante only works 1 day a week. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because that happens. Because that's actually explained in the fucking anime too, that she's no longer with Dante. So I don't really know what's going on with this guy here.
Why does Dante take a long enough? Why does he take a long time to defeat or to stop V? That's easily preventable. I think you need to understand the definition of easily preventable.
Well, I mean, Dante has a gun, so really all Dante needed to do was shoot V, and it would have been over. Now, what you have to understand or what you have to forgive here is this is a pretty emotional moment. Dante is probably not thinking straight.
Yeah, Dante is just kind of happy. Again, he's just satisfied that Virgil has been defeated, and now that V is going to kill him because he feels that V has a personal vendetta against him that's recent. So he's like, I trust that V is going to take him out. But then by the time V's throwing it down, he's like, oh, well, I already have the sword out. I'm exhausted. I'm not of the frame of mind because I've spent so much time fighting the entire day. And yeah, so my first instinct is to run towards him instead of pulling out my guns. Yeah, that's completely rational for him to do that. He's taxed. It's not easily presentable in the context that it's being presented. Or it's not easily preventable in the context that it's being presented.
And then Nero's just there like, hey, what's going on? I want to be a part of this.
And yeah, and then he labels like failure multiple times.
Yeah, because he's saying Dante fails multiple times. Okay, so yeah, so next is the timeline change and shit like that. So let's go ahead and cover this real quickly.
He also says, "Why is Dante so dumb?" I mean, Dante's always been dumb. So
to be fair, though, in regards, in this game, he does do some more questionable decisions than most of the other games. But I feel like this
Dante's a boomer. In case you haven't noticed, TPR, like the point of like why is Dante dumb in relevance to like Virgil and a lot of the. It's because Dante he has been told multiple times. He says this in the beginning of the game. He says this in Visions of V. He has been told so many times that there's like, a powerful demon that's about to attack. And he's like, do you have any idea how many times I heard that line? This is from a guy who only works 1 day a week. He's been told every single time of the hundreds of times he's gotten jobs, or at least most times. He said, there's a powerful demon that's coming around and you got to handle it. So he is extremely overconfident. Well, I wouldn't say extremely. He's very overconfident with this.
I mean, to be fair, though, it is confidence that is backed up by, well, literally.
No. It's validated confidence. It's just he doesn't have the context to understand. Like, context is being missed for a lot of these characters for reasons that are completely legitimate. That's my problem with a lot of these questions being prompted. He doesn't take into consideration outside information that validates the reasons for why these characters ask these questions or why they don't ask these questions. Dante is the strongest being in the DMC universe at this time. Like, even he's stronger than Urizen when Urizen was born. Urizen gets really strong because he just took some blood. But again, Dante, it never occurred to Dante that blood was a powerful thing because, again, he just sat on his ass and existed. And then he was like beyond the Demon King. He could literally one-shot. So you need to understand that for him to exist that strong, just be like, I guess must be really, really good. Like,
Must be all that humanity, am I right?
Yeah, because he genuinely believes that it's having a heart, and that determines what's wrong. Which he's not entirely wrong. Demons can get a boost.
Kingdom Hearts universe.
Yeah, demons can get a boost from having emotions and properly understanding empathy, but you get a much bigger boost from just having blood and like human material pumped into your body on a consistent basis.
Okay, so hang on. So I'm gonna try and were there any more questions, or because there's 5 minutes, I just want to summarize real quickly so we can just move on to like his actual starting points. Because he spends like another fucking 3 minutes giving his own like a fanfic idea, like headcanon. I don't know, his own story ideas, we'll call it. So he's annoyed with the timeline swap. Like everyone was when the timeline swapped. I don't think there was a single person who didn't like who liked the timeline swap. Actually, it was just a really stupid decision.
Sure, but he's also asking like why it happened. So the simplest answer is that it makes Dante's character more consistent. So I'm not sure if this guy is aware, but Dante, after the events of DMC1, well, even during the events of DMC1, is on the verge of being very depressed. Because he still thinks Virgil is dead, his mother is dead, his father is dead, and his business is about to go down the tubes.
Again, for the first time that week.
Again, he like all of it. He basically has no friends, no family, nothing, because everyone he grew up with is pretty much dead. So the only people he knows is through business, and his business isn't even. So everything he has kind of sucks. Trish shows up and shows that he's still got some kind of family, because it's like, oh, you're still my mother. And then she leaves, sort of, but it's still his business partner. They keep in touch. Then the anime comes around, and he's officially, like, dying inside, because he confirms that even though he kills Mundus, he confirms Virgil was alive, but then he thinks Virgil is dead. He truly does believe until DMC5 that he believes exactly what a lot of DMC fans believe because he fought Virgil himself, and he sees the amulet drop, and he's like, oh, I know Nello Angelo was Virgil now. He thinks Virgil is dead, and he thinks he killed him, which is why he's in a massive depression during the anime. So, to go from the anime in the timeline to jump into 4 and just have him happy and be like, hey, Nero, I mean, that's pretty massively inconsistent. That also doesn't make sense with the amount of years, because that makes Nero like underage.
Okay, so he actually mentions this too at some point in the video too. He says that Virgil wasn't old enough to have kids in the original timeline.
which is false, but
Yeah, biologically
kind of.
that's false. Virgil could be 16 years old and he could have fucking kids, you know? Like, we're just
You still have healthy babies at 16, 17. You're just not advised to because it's not economically feasible. But again, this isn't relevant because you're a descendant of Sparta. Descendants of Sparta don't need to eat. They don't need to drink. They don't even need to breathe, according to DMC1. According to DMC5. So, like, this isn't even, like, relevant. Because
was like, you're gonna give me alimony? Why? He's not gonna
this is just assuming Virgil had to raise Nero. This is without even considering the fact he gave him up to the state. Like the Fortuna as their own government raises him. So like what like even and without even considering the fact he's half human, half demon, his biology would be way more powerful than a normal human being. So if anything, possible like the pregnancy would have lasted like a sooner amount of time. He would have been a healthier human baby, less results for birth defects, whatever.
It took Nero 1 week to be born because of his healing factor. He just reformed his form just instantly.
Yeah, so either way, biologically he is a way more powerful being, and he has more blood at his disposal because he's 3/4 human. And while he we're not going to talk about when the blood boost kicks in, but as far as like blood and just being that, you should consider that the possibility that he is, or not the possibility, the reality that he is a very powerful being in terms of his biology. So even if Virgil was underage, that would only matter in the context of Capcom trying to make a story that's not as gritty, because there are certain lines that they don't want to cross as far as like
Virgil's 16 years old, Nero's mom is 30. Make calling now.
As far as the timeline is more relevant as far as like the point of the timeline being fixed has to do with the fact
30
that
during the events of DMC.
Go ahead.
Nero's 30 in the events of DMC5, right?
Wait, I'm sorry, you cut out.
Nero is like 30 years old during the events of DMC5, isn't he?
No, he's 25.
Okay, so he's 25?
Yeah, because he's like it's like he's either 24 or 25, because it's like he's almost on the verge of turning 20. So because it's 5 years happens, but he's 19 during the events of DMC4. So
okay, so 5 years. Okay, so hang on a minute. If he's 19 during the events of DMC4, Virgil's like 19 or 18 during the events of DMC3.
No, Virgil is 18 during the events of the manga. He's 19 during the.
Okay, so if Nero's 24, there's like what 20
what
years?
What did you say?
It's like DMC's entire story happens like over 20 years. Like
DMC3 is when Nero's born. From there to 4 is 19 years. That's what makes him 19 years old.
Okay, yes. So no, yeah, Virgil could easily have like a kid like the year prior at like 17 or something, and it would have been
absolutely. So
because he goes on to say that the timeline messes up Nero because apparently Nero doesn't work with the current.
It doesn't. It didn't prior timeline. It doesn't post timeline. In fact, post timeline makes it even more consistent. But as far as Dante, who is the focus of the story until like 4 and 5, the reason why the timeline was swapped is because the idea that Dante goes into hell and then gets out of he also goes into this like, why did they tease this on a motorcycle if they knew this was the case? Well, again, I don't know if you've noticed this, but like a lot of them haven't played the earlier DMC games, and they just grab from certain scenes in the game. They don't remember everything about DMC2, and they would very much like to forget DMC2 as they avoid it like the plague. So the idea that the Capcom like employees like Matt Walker and Suno would know or would care that, oh, Dante's riding into hell, and that, oh, he's coming out on Cavalier Angelo. Well, that's not even relevant then, because at the end of DMC2, it's confirmed he shows up in that scene when Lucia is waiting in the shop, because it's confirmed you hear a motorcycle outside and she runs outside to see him. Like, his motorcycle shows up at the end of the shop. So I don't know if you played DMC2, but I did. The main point is because Dante can't be super massively like out of it and bored and depressed because his depression is starting to like evaporate during the year that because the anime, the novel, two's novel and two take place the same year. They happen roughly a little bit of time away from each other. Two's novel takes place roughly 2 weeks before the events, little over 2 weeks before the events of two, and
Well, here's the
then
thing. If we're gonna
anime
include the
happens a couple months.
novel, we have to establish that the novel inherently has Dante being way more fucking like.
The novel what?
If we're gonna talk about DMC2's novel, the novel has Dante being way more chill and happy about things than.
Yeah, no. The novel shows that he still has his personality. He's just like a cold-blooded killer. Like that's the only like that's the main difference, I suppose.
The only headcanon I will accept right now is that fucking Dante, like DMC2 takes place on the anniversary of Virgil's death, and that's why he's upset.
It's possible, but like the reason why he's so like non-emotional in 2 is because he's bored. He literally doesn't fucking care, and he confirms this in 2 because he completely forgot Argosax was a thing, even though the Despair Embodied is more powerful than Mundus. He one-shot him and was like, "What? Whatever. Guess we'll just go into hell."
Original One Punch Man over here.
So,
Okay.
motorcycle thing was just a coincidence.
Yeah. So then he goes on his own headcanon saying like how he would fix the story by like fucking. He also goes on to say that people supported his opinions in the last game and saying that people don't criticize the game all that much, like that they don't that well, in his own words, he says people are afraid to criticize the game, and to be fair, he does bring up examples of the DMC Reddit blocking his video. So, like, I mean, I guess there were some people who just didn't like his opinion for some reason.
No, I doubt. Maybe some people Reddit subreddit. If you want to get people to criticize your video, ask them to jump into VC in the DMC subreddit Discord. Either one of the two, or Devil Never Cries Discord or Half Blind. There are plenty of people who will challenge you on that shit. So we're not lacking.
So let me see here. What else did he say? So Motorcycle being a callback to DMC2, which I guess
Capcom's team is confirmed on every stream that they've been on when people ask them about Cavalier. They've wanted to make a motorcycle weapon since 2. So again, it is literally a coincidence. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I mean, we're just gonna chalk off to Capcom being fucking Capcom as per usual. You know, fucking obvious fucking reference here, clearly, and it's like, oh, it was unintentional.
And then the last question before he goes into the giant question swabble where we don't have to answer anything. If Dante hasn't been trapped in the demon world, why does he look so crappy? Well, again, Dante always looks crappy. It's just a lot of it is just the rendering of the engine that they're using the RE engine now.
Okay, so to the very least save some viewers' time here, and I don't know how long I can record a video for. We're going to go ahead and at the 2-hour mark, finally get past technically the first 10 minutes of the video. Technically. Well, more like the first 8, because then he starts talking about the story and shit afterwards in like 8:25, and we'll start there with the next video. But at the very least, I'm going to put a stop to this video, because this video is already 2 fucking hours in and of itself. So,
yeah.
With that said, thank you guys for your time as always. Have a nice day, and we'll see when part 2 gets uploaded.